Thank you, Kathy. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the June 16th, 2020 Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
Don't forget, you may have to press escape to enter full
Need
screen.
a second?
We have a second.
Please cast your votes.
Aye.
And the item passes unanimously. Thank you all. Next is to ratify the OCEDT claims. You have a copy of the claims before you. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Please cast your votes.
Aye.
And it is approved. Next item is items requiring individual attention. And the first one on our agenda is the amended joint resolution with the City of Oklahoma City reapproving the allocation of general obligation limited tax proceeds and/or investment proceeds in the amount up to $3 million for Costco. Kathy, would you brief us on that, please?
Yes. This resolution is to approve and amended to reapprove the allocation that was made to Costco. During the negotiations for the economic development agreement, we discovered that Costco had made an error in the annual salary amount, and they also had decided to add additional jobs to Oklahoma City. So the original allocation was for $3 million for 1,044 jobs with a first year average wage of $44,606. Costco has requested that we change the number of jobs to 1,503 that would be added over 5 to 7 years, and change the annual salary to $38,299. This does have an overall increase in the economic impact created by this project. So we would recommend approval of this slight amendment in the allocation resolution.
Thank you, Kathy. Questions from the trustees? I'll entertain a motion to approve. Cast your votes.
Aye.
And the item is approved. Next is an economic development agreement between Oklahoma City Trust and Costco in exchange for locating the back office facility in Oklahoma City and for its commitment to approximately 1,503 new quality jobs, not to exceed $3 million using gold funds. If you would brief us, Ms. Kathy.
Sure. So this is the economic development agreement between the Economic Development Trust and Costco Wholesale Corporation to locate its back office call center facility in Oklahoma City. They plan to make a $25 million capital investment in addition to adding 1,503 new jobs. The average, as I mentioned earlier, the average wage in the first year will be $38,309, and it rises to $53,876 by the 6th year. And again, just like our other economic development agreements for job creation, it is based on pay for performance, and the incentives will only be paid out as the jobs are created by Costco. I think we also have Mike Stratus on the call, who represents Costco in this transaction, if any of you had any direct questions for him.
I have a
Thank
question.
you. Matthew, if you would, before we take questions, did you have some opening comments you'd like to make?
Mike, are you there?
I am here. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't know that he was addressing that to me. I have no additional comments. We had human error in the submission of the original numbers, but we think the overall economic package exceeds what we had submitted prior. But I'm available to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Mike. Questions for Mike?
I don't have a question, Mike, but you will be our around the corner neighbor from Jordan, so the Hertz building. Yep.
We're excited about coming. I can tell you that.
Well, we'd like to welcome you to Oklahoma City.
Thank you.
Chairman would accept a motion to approve. Second, please cast your votes.
Aye.
And it is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Next on our agenda is a joint resolution dealing with the 700 West Project Economic Development Agreement, an amount not to exceed $4,150,000.
Kick me out.
Tables not here if you want to sit at the desk.
Francis, you're not muted. Technology sometimes gets the best of us, doesn't it?
Yes.
Do you want me to go over this, Chairman McAtee?
Did I get ahead of myself or did it?
No, I think Francis wasn't muted and we were listening to her for a minute.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We will forgive you.
It's been a long day of meetings, hasn't it, Francis? So this project is located at Northwest 4th and Chartel. It is the development of 300 apartment units, about a $52.6 million project that Colony Partners is going to undertake on this piece of land that's owned by the Oklahoma City Urban Renewal Authority. This agreement allocates $4,155,000 to the project. $2 million of that is from the general obligation limited tax bond authorization that was set aside for affordable housing, and $2,155,000 is from a tax increment allocation. The $2 million will be used to support the development of 72 affordable units within the project. Those units will be available to people who make 80% of area median income or less. And so the $2 million helps to support the lower levels of rent that those units will create during the life of the project. Mr. Bradshaw, both Mr. Bradshaws are on the call, Ron and his son Jason. And Ron and Jason, did you have anything you wanted to add or go over any of the project details?
I don't think so, Jason. The only thing I would say is that things are moving along on a timely basis for us to get started in the end of September. So next month, and we appreciate all the assistance that we've had so far, and look forward to starting construction. And Jason and I can answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you, Jason. Any questions for Ron or Jason?
Mr. Chairman, I have a word of thanks to the Bradshaws, but a question, I think, for Kathy.
Okay.
Kathy, you had indicated the $2 million associated with the affordable housing was to assist during the quote life of the project. What is that pro forma in years, please?
Well, typically we ask for a 10-year pro forma, but the affordability term, I think, has to be 15 years. We will be monitoring, pardon me?
I think it's 20 years. Kathy.
20, okay. I knew it was
Yeah,
either 15 or 20. So
yeah.
We monitor affordability over that 15 to 20 year time period to make sure that they're charging rents within the formula that's set out in the agreement.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you. And thank you again for everybody that's worked on this project. I'm excited to see it at this location. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
sir.
Number two.
Thank you, Jim. Kathy, this is a little bit different than some of the original goal projects that were creating jobs. In this case, you're creating spaces for people who have jobs through affordable housing opportunities. Is that not correct?
That's correct. Yep. When council approved the allocation for the 2017 bond authorization, you set aside $10 million in an affordable housing fund of the 60 million that was approved by the voters. So we've had a couple of projects so far where we've allocated some of that money. But this may, I can't remember, this may be one of the first ones downtown that we've done. So, you know, providing affordable units downtown, close to jobs, close to amenities is a really important goal of the program.
It's a key comment, an important goal of the program to keep things moving and keep people active downtown, whether they're making parts or whether they're living down there for other jobs.
Right.
Any other comments or questions from the trustees? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve. In a second. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you,
Next.
Mr. Chairman and trustees.
Sorry, Chairman. Trustee Roth, how did you want to vote?
Aye. Thank you.
Sorry, Jim, thank you. Next up is a joint resolution with the City of Oklahoma City adopting and approving an update to the policy guide dealing with the Core to Shore reinvestment area. Kathy, if you would.
Yes, I think Jeff Butler is going to be with us to make a presentation, but this is an update to the policy guide for the tax increment district that covers the Core to Shore area. The policy guide was originally adopted in 2016 along with the Core to Shore, the creation of the Core to Shore TIF district. And these updates include some cleanups and other changes so that it better aligns with another document that City Council has adopted that's called the Downtown Development Framework. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff for a presentation.
Thank you, Kathy. Jeff, look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, thank you. Jeff Butler, Planning Director. I'm actually subbing for Lisa Cronister, our Assistant Planning Director. She has worked with the Alliance on this and was the person in charge of updating the Downtown Development Framework. But I'm happy to be here today and go through this with you, and please let me know if you have any questions as I go. So the policy guide, like Kathy was saying, is pretty typical with TIF districts. This one's a little unique in the sense that we have additional detail in this particular policy guide regarding design of structures, proposed structures, and that's how it kind of folds in with the Downtown Development Framework. I think this group knows pretty well what tax increment financing is. Happy to answer questions there, though. So here's the map of the Core to Shore reinvestment area, just as a reminder of the area that we're talking about. There haven't been any changes to this specific map, but it goes from roughly Myriad Gardens down to the river in Western, over there towards Lower Bricktown. Next slide, please. So we updated this because it's been a few years since we adopted the policy and things have changed a little bit. There have been some new developments, of course, and some street realignments and things like that. As I mentioned, we've updated the Downtown Development Framework just recently, and we've also adopted the Historic Preservation Plan, Preserve OKC. So I wanted to make sure that this was in alignment with those. And there wasn't a whole lot of work needed to do it. I'd characterize it as pretty minor. There were a few substantive changes, but most of it related to, like I said, changing just because we've got new development, updating a few colors here and there on the maps, the land uses and street alignments and things like that. But there were some deletions for clarity, which I'll get into a little bit later, and some changes related to historic preservation. So I'll go through quickly the next slides to kind of detail what we've done. So I mentioned earlier that chapters or sections 5 and 6 are the sections in this that are fairly unique. So we're talking about design and density standards and HP standards, and what standards they would need to meet a developer would need to meet to qualify for TIF in these areas. So here we've updated based on the addition of the convention center. We changed the grid block pattern from the producers co-op site just to better reflect what's actually there. Nobody really knows precisely what it'll end up looking like, so we feel like that's a better approach. And there are a few other minor changes that we did, reflecting the alignment of a couple of streets there near the Chesapeake Arena. But other than that, just minor changes. So go to the next slide, please. We also removed this, what was called a building topology. It just didn't seem to add a whole lot. Felt like it was difficult to interpret. You can see where that black X is. And we felt like, we've already got enough in the document to be able to handle the compatibility of different building types, and that can be addressed, like it says there at the bottom, through density, building form, and building design guidelines, which are already in there. Next slide, please. So we updated some street topologies, not a whole lot of change here. Again, you can see where the convention center was added, of course. So really it's just changing a few geometries regarding the just the streets and the blocks themselves. So I don't think there were actually there were no substantive changes. Let me just say it that way. Updated historic property inventory map. If you scrutinize this, you'll see there are a few different colors from the original to the updated. There are, some buildings that have needed to go away for redevelopment in the Corridor area. So we just felt like it'd be a good idea to keep this up to date with the current information that we have. And then we reorganized Chapter 6. It just really simplified and aligned with Preserve OKC, which, as I mentioned, is our new historic preservation plan. And we made some clarifications and simplified. You can see from left to right, there's a little bit of simplification going on with the numbering and just kind of keeping the, the important information while getting rid of some of the extraneous information. And again, more of the same, trying to simplify here, make it a little easier to understand. Took an image or two out there that were not as beneficial, and changed the numbering. So that's it. Like I said, not a whole lot of substantive work, just making sure, whenever we update a plan or do anything, we like to make sure our associated documents are up to date. So happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? Hearing none, take a motion to approve in a second. Thank you for coming, Jeff.
Thank you.
And cast your votes.
Aye.
And the item passes. Next up, the Alliance for Economic Development of Oklahoma City's fiscal year 20 fourth quarter report. Ms. Kathy.
Thank you. The report in your packet covers the third and fourth quarters for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. The Alliance board did not have a meeting in April due to the pandemic, and so we just met in July and adopted this report as part of our board meeting activities. Just probably the major thing that we've been working on since March is the Small Business Continuity Program. Round one launched on March 31st. We deployed about $5.5 million pretty quickly out into the community, taking applications from small businesses. Under that program, we received about 600 applications. We've approved about 300 of those and have made payments to those businesses. There's obviously another 300 that, for whatever reason, have been disqualified, whether they weren't in the city limits, they didn't meet some of the basic threshold criteria in that first program, like the amount of revenue lost, or they weren't in business for an entire year. There were some kind of baseline criteria that some of the businesses have not met. So that consumed a great deal of the operations of the Alliance, and Joanna and Wiley and a whole bunch of other people at the city in the months of April and May and June. We are planning to close out that first round of the program later this week, and today we launched round two. So there is a new application out on the website for round two of the Small Business Continuity Program, and the second round is funded through the CARES Act. We are going to be able to make grants to businesses of 100 or fewer employees of up to $100,000. This time the businesses will only have to have been in business since February 15th, 2020. We also have a business retrofit program where we're going to help businesses pay for the expenses for social distancing or sanitizing systems, other kinds of things that help them respond to the pandemic that are physical changes to their buildings. And then we'll continue to offer the technical assistance services that we did in the first round. Through the CARES Act, we were able to allocate about $12 million towards this second round. $1 million of that has been set aside for the business retrofits and technical assistance. So about $11 million is available for the grant program. So those programs have taken a lot of time, a lot of effort by a lot of different people. I do want to say thank you to First Fidelity Bank. They are administering and implementing the program on behalf of the city. They did the first round for us for free, including creating the website and the ability to take applications online and all of the infrastructure that has to go along with that. And now this time they are going to receive a little bit of a payment for those services for this second round, especially since it's so much more money. So just want to give a word of thanks to them and to the Chamber of Commerce and the city staff that have all worked on this program. It really has been a team effort and really shows why Oklahoma City is able to get these kinds of things going so quickly.
Kathy, may I ask a question? It seems like the county is floundering on a program to allocate its resources from CARES. In fact, they were on the news this morning. So they haven't formalized a process, have they?
Not that I know of. We've been in, Rhonda, we have been in discussions with them through the Oklahoma Industries Authority to see if we can be of assistance to them.
Okay.
The Oklahoma Industries Authority is a county beneficiary trust that's managed through the Alliance. So one of the few things we do that isn't, specifically attached to Oklahoma City. But we have been in some discussions with them and hope, if they need our help, we're here to help them.
Good.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question as well, Kathy?
Sure.
Yeah, so thank you for the update. I was reading through the claims today and I appreciated the amount of progress that you and everyone involved in this process have been able to make. And so thank you for that type of relief. I was curious though, when I saw a few that appeared to be like national hotel chain, for example, what must be required to have an Oklahoma City footprint or LLC or something that is an actual qualifying aspect as opposed to a national entity?
Well, they had to have a physical presence in Oklahoma City. And they had to have, in the first program, we only worked with, for the incentive payments, you had to have fewer than 15 employees. And for other programs, it was 50 or fewer. So they were still very small businesses. This next round is slightly larger. I mean, I don't know that we worked with that many national companies, but they may have created an LLC that was specific to their brand here in Oklahoma City, and then they would have been eligible.
Okay, well, and I trust the due diligence that you're envisioning. Just wanted to make sure that there's some way to make sure that the localized city relief is being associated back with a localized benefit, right? If they've got
Right.
multiple locations, I want to make sure that it's not going somewhere else and is actually preserving the investment here locally. So
Yeah,
Thank-
I mean, we even had some regional restaurant groups apply, but they could only apply for their locations in Oklahoma City. So we had to be very specific about that. And on the first round, we had slightly more strict requirements because we knew we would run out of money. And we were trying to help as many businesses as we could. So it's a little bit different program.
but with the increasing employee number, I'm just extra sensitive to what that might be. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
And
Interesting.
round 2 opens when?
Today, it's open right now.
Okay. To the question relative to hotels, it might also have been a franchise operation. There's a hotel entity that's sizable that operates under several brand flagships, so that might have been the case.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We tried to be very careful about things like that. And Joanna had a team of reviewers that were mostly made up of city employees that really watched for things like that and asked a lot of tough questions. So, and the other thing that we've been making some progress on is the development of the Homeland Grocery Store at 36 in Lincoln. We are moving forward with construction plans and finalizing all of the different financial arrangements for the project, the new markets tax credits, the bank loan. So that's moving forward. We got approval for, as you all know, for the TIF allocation, for the master development agreement. So all of that process is moving forward. The Omni Hotel continues to make good progress. I got to take a little bit of a tour yesterday with a small group of people, and it's absolutely beautiful inside, even though it's still very much under construction, but they plan to open in January. So looking forward to that. Under job creation, we continue to work with Tinker on several different aerospace strategies. We have refinanced the MROTC in order to lease it directly to the Air Force. The Costco customer service facility that was just on the agenda was one of the things we've worked on. We have a Project Albatross and Project Glove that we're working on through the chamber, both significant job creation projects for Oklahoma City. And then you can look through the rest of the report. You know, we continue to be very active on a wide variety of development projects in Northeast Oklahoma City and downtown. We're building single family homes. Most of those are affordable houses that we have contracts on already, or we've already closed on. So making progress on the single family home development and other projects like that. So I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kathy. Any kind of questions for Kathy?
Kathy, on the Northeast Oklahoma City redevelopment effort, I know you've made tremendous strides on issues around food desert. And I noticed on your report, it talked about a food resource center with the regional food bank. Could you elaborate on that for a moment, please?
We've been working with Councilwoman Nice and the Regional Food Bank. The Regional Food Bank has put together a committee of people from Northeast Oklahoma City community members to try to identify a location for a food resource center similar to the one they have in, I think there's one in Shawnee and there's one in Moore, that would be a more community-based food bank operation to serve the community. So, I mean, it's mostly about searching for the right location and the right facility, and working with that group of citizens to try to implement that. Now it's slowed down a little bit. It's been difficult to meet and move some of these things along. But
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Any more comments or questions for Kathy? Hearing none, I guess, do we need to vote to receive the reports, Francis, or?
Yes, sir, you do. A motion to receive the report.
Take a motion to receive. And a second. Please cast your votes,
Aye.
and thank you all. Any comments from staff? Hearing none, any comments from any of the trustees?
Chairman, if I might, just a word to all the staff. This can't be easy. I know it's not. Coordinating publicly involved and serving trustees along with staff and council people. I just wanted to say thanks. It's really been incredible. The way that Francis and the people supporting her have been helpful. So as one citizen involved in this process, the city continues to impress. And I just want to say thanks for the effort.
Francis and her team have done an unbelievable job in the communications and telecommunications, whatever you want to look at, and implement all this. And thank you to you.
It has been a team effort. Thank you. And as you can see, I'm out in the lobby outside the council chamber. So everyone's been stopping me, asking me what I'm doing.
Well, they're asking you what you're doing because you have a zebra mask on. So no one's going to say no to Francis.
I have Zoom and will travel.
yeah,
Love it.
you need
Thank
to
you,
get your
Francis.
thunder mask on, Francis.
Yes.
All right, I think I'm losing control here.
You asked for comments.
Are there any citizens who have signed up?
No, sir.
Hmm?
No one has signed up.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you all for your participation, your interest, and your commitment to Oklahoma City. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.